this week's chapter of One Piece, the most revolutionary man in the entire series makes his grand return. You know who I'm talking about, right? I'm talking about Buggy the Clown, bitches! Waha! 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 That's right, my friends, the Grand Clown of Doom himself has returned in this week's incredibly exciting chapter. Now, I joke, I kid, Buggy the Clown does return in this week's chapter, but he's definitely not the main reason to check this one out. There are a lot of amazing developments going on in this week's chapter, so let's just talk about some of the key points. First and foremost, Straw Hat Pirates just arrived at the island of Zoe, which is the big-ass elephant. They are going to have to climb to the very top, and how are they going to do that? They're going to do it with the power of shitty artwork, in particular because of Kanjuro, because he has the ability to draw things and bring them to life. We've already seen the very sad and pathetic duck. Now we get to see the very sad and pathetic dragon. He actually draws this, like, classical Chinese dragon, which Nico Robin does think is very cute, and that just happens to be a very funny running gag in this week's chapter, but he's able to use this dragon, which is going to climb up the leg of the elephant, and they're going to climb on top of the dragon. While they're actually climbing to the top, they're actually curious as to why Kanjuro and Kinemon are even still with them, and I guess they completely forgot about the fact that Momonosuke was with the other Straw Hat Pirates, but they're also looking for their other friend, who goes by the name of Raizo. Raizo just happens to be a ninja. Just hearing this has already got me excited. I'm as excited as the Straw Hat crew when they learn that there's a ninja in a frickin' pirate series. Now I'm already thinking, this is another prime candidate for next member of the Straw Hat crew. And what an amazing middle finger that would be to the fans of the series if Oda decided to put a ninja in the One Piece series and make him like a big main character with the Straw Hats. I think that would be really fun, and I can't wait to see what this guy's abilities are going to be, because since he is a ninja, of course he's probably going to have the stereotypical shuriken, the sword, maybe even wearing like a black outfit, but he might have a devil fruit that allows him to use shadow abilities. He might have a devil fruit that allows him to use lightning abilities, because his name is Raizo. That's very reminiscent of Raiden, so we're just going to have to really see what they're going to do with that, but there's a lot of mystery behind that. The other big developments of this week's chapter, we get to see the return of Buggy the frickin' Clown, who is absolutely ecstatic now that Doflamingo's been defeated. Everybody's going to be coming to him for business. However, before he can get too excited, he does learn that unfortunately Harudin and the other mercenary giants are not going to be a part of his crew anymore, but still I think he's going to get over it, because now they're just getting ready to ransack a couple of towns and take advantage of his Shichibukai status. But without a doubt, the biggest development from this week's chapter is that we finally get to go to the island of Baltigo, which is the HQ of the frickin' Revolutionaries, and we get some dragon action this week, my friends. Dragon has some pretty important dialogue in this week's chapter. First and foremost, he doesn't really care about Luffy that much, or if he does, he's not saying it outright. Apparently, Sabo talked his head off earlier about Luffy and all of his exploits, but he's more curious about what's going on with Nico Robin, which is just another ridiculous thing to throw into the story. We already got the mystery with Sanji's bounty, now we got Nico Robin, who is maybe somehow affiliated with the Revolutionaries and Dragon, and this does make sense because during the time skip she did do her training here, so she might have actually become a revolutionary herself, or maybe she's like a spy for them, and she talks directly to Dragon so that she can let him know everything that's going on with his son. I'm not really sure what's going on here, but it's a really nice mystery. But Dragon, Sabo, Koala, them all showing up in one chapter is really cool. What really made it really awesome is that Jesus Burgess, member of the Blackbeard crew, has actually stowed away on a revolutionary ship and is actually at the island of Baltigo. He gives his friends a call, which is Shiryu and Lafitte, and they actually call the other Blackbeard Pirates, and they are going to ransack the island, steal all of the weapons, and hopefully have an incredibly epic battle with Dragon and the Revolutionaries. This is one of the most hype things that I've already seen from the entire series, and I cannot wait to see what they are going to potentially do with it. It's really exciting to be a One Piece fan right now. So, what's the rundown? Frickin' Dragon. That's really all I have to say. You know, he's a character that I've been, like, waiting to see more of this guy, waiting to see more dialogue, waiting to see a scene that's not just a flashback of Dragon, something that's going to pertain to what's actually going on in this story, and they completely delivered it in this week's chapter. And they added a lot of mystery to it, which I think is really great. The fact that he's so concerned about Nico Robin. Is there the potential that they could be related in some sense? Maybe they actually knew each other some time ago. I'm not really sure. I'm just really curious to see what they're doing with this plot point, and the fact that they're going to start this big action scene with the Blackbeard Pirates, who are actually going to be making their way to Baltigo. I think that's going to be really exciting, and this will be a great opportunity to see like how powerful and devastating the Revolutionaries are, because outside of Sabo and basically just Sabo, we haven't really like seen what they're truly capable of. I did miss Emporio Ivankov, but still, you know, they're definitely the most mysterious organization from the entire series. You know, like whenever they talk about like the big bads, the higher ups in the entire One Piece series, they're always like the last group that's mentioned, but also at the same time, they're considered one of the most absolute dangerous, and this will be a great opportunity to show what they're truly capable of. I'm also really interested to see if Blackbeard himself is actually going to go to the island of Baltigo, if he really thinks that it is worth his time. When he actually learns that Sabo does have the Mera Mera no Mi, that might actually give him an excuse to have sort of like a rematch of sorts with that devil fruit, which I think would be really freaking awesome. He might even try to actually steal it back. I think that would be really interesting. But just to see a confrontation between him and Dragon would be great. The Battle of the D's is about to begin, my friends. And then, of course, there's just all the hilarity at the beginning of the chapter. You know, there's a lot of funny moments with Bartolomeo's crew at the beginning, which unfortunately it doesn't seem like they're going to be joining the Straw Hats on their journey on the island of Zoe. It looks like they're going off and doing their own thing. However, they do have one final goodbye with their friends, and it is really funny. But Kanjuro this week, God, he was so funny when he created that dragon. Seeing that thing just sort of flail up the leg of the elephant. His drawings look so goofy and funny, and I can't wait to see how they're actually going to animate that in the anime version of the series. Nico Robin was so funny, how she loved the dragon, but didn't give a shit when the freaking ninja was mentioned. Like, everybody else, like all the male members of the crew, like whenever there's like something really cool, a beam or a robot, they all pay attention, and Nico Robin is just completely cold to it, but she still thinks that dragon is really damn cute. Really, this week's chapter, though, just, it's all about that dragon stuff and the battle with the Blackbeard Pirates, which could be coming up. Just the excitement that I'm getting from that, I can't contain it. It's going to be so awesome. Fantastic freaking chapter. Great artwork, funny moments, and planting the seeds for big battles. So I'm going to give this week's chapter a 5 out of 5. I got no complaints with it. Reading it from beginning to end was an absolute joy, and I think that all One Piece fans are definitely going to like it. But I want to hear from you guys. Before you leave today, please tell me what you thought about this week's chapter of One Piece. What do you think is the deal with Dragon and Nico Robin's relationship? Do you think that they're actually related? Do you think she's just working with the Revolutionaries as a spy? She's working on two teams at once? What's really going on here? And what's the deal with this brand new character of Raizo? Do you think he's actually going to end up being a really cool character? Do you think he's going to be just as goofy as Kinemon and Kanjuro and Momonosuke? And what's the deal with that final chapter shot where there's something that's falling out of the sky? Is that actually an important character, or is it just the elephant who's about to take a big crap on the Straw Hats? We're going to have to wait and see, because apparently the next couple chapters are going to be on a break. And that makes sense, because every single time something really cool happens, we go on break for a little bit. So, there it is, my friends. Check out this week's chapter of One Piece and tell me your thoughts in the comment section below. Thank you guys for watching my review. Make sure to like it and share it with your friends and subscribe to the channel. Thank you guys again for watching, and as always, stay dandy, baby.